What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 171, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode is going to be my Week 14 QB ranking tiers. Now, we have BYEMAGGEDON Part 2 with 6 teams on a bye, and 3 of the top 10 QBs are going to be out. You have Lamar Jackson, you have Jaden Daniels, QB 1 and 2, Bo Nix, QB 7, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Drake May are all going to be on a bye here, guys. So we are going to sift through this and try to get the exact rankings we need because the playoff buys are, or the playoff seeds are coming next week. So this is a crucial week in fantasy football. Before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like, make sure you smash the subscription, turn that bell on, helps me out a ton. I will be live today, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, taking all your questions for Week 14. And if you guys cannot make the live stream, you can drop any comments you want down below. It does not have to pertain to this video. Sorry for the lateness, guys. Our dog passed away yesterday morning. It was absolutely brutal. So I'm going to try and crush out everything we can do here today. And let's dive into my Week 14 QB rankings. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my revamped QB Week 14 board here. So at the bottom left, you're going to see the players that are injured or lost their job here. So Tommy DeVito, looks like you're going to see Drew Lock this week. Trevor Lawrence headed to IR. Looks like it's going to be Mac Jones the rest of the way, which is going to be ugly. Then you have Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, QB 1 and 2, CJ Stroud, Bo Nix, Anthony Richardson, and Drake May are all on a bye. So we are going to have to make this precise for BYEMAGGEDON Week 2 here. Starting off with my QB 1 of the week, it is going to be Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. They are going to be heading into the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams give up 16.4 to the quarterback, 9th in the red zone, 234.7 passing yards. But what they give up a lot is 1.7 passing TDs, which is number 2 in the NFL. And when you're looking at this game, I mean, this is going to be a monster game here for the Rams too. 6-6 battling in the NFC West. Buffalo Bills battling to get that top spot from the Chiefs. And they have this game right now to over under at 49.5. They think the points are going to fly, and so do I. Heading into QB number 2 here, there's going to be Jalen Hurts. And this one for me is kind of like 50-50, right? Because he can either pop off, get a tush push here and there and get in the end zone because Carolina struggles everywhere. So they're 29th versus the quarterback, giving up 20.5, 28th in the red zone, 234.8 passing yards, and 1.8 passing TDs allowed per game, which is dead last. But where they also struggle is versus the running back heavy. And they're 32nd in almost every single category versus the running back. So this could be a Saquon Barkley 30-40 plus game here where you don't see a lot of Jalen Hurts. So that's why I'm kind of iffy on the fence, but you're still starting him no matter what. And he's going to be my QB2 on the week. QB number 3, smoking Joe Burrow. Man, what a brutal loss last week for the Cincinnati Bengals. May have killed their season. They're possibly going to have to win out from here to have any hope, right? So they get the Dallas Cowboys this week. Dallas Cowboys on a little streak themselves. So, the defense is getting healthier. They got Bland back. They should get blanking on the end name right now that's out as well. They should get him back this week as well to go along with Micah. But when you're looking at Joe Burrow, this guy's had 30, 40, 30, and 20 points straight. Those are against Baltimore Chargers and Pittsburgh straight. Now you get the Dallas Cowboys, who give up 20.2 points to the quarterback. That ranks 27th. They rank 29th in the red zone, 229.8 pass yards and 1.4 passing TDs. And T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are on absolute fire. Chase Brown is absolutely balling. I love Joe Burrow as my QB3 this week. QB4, moving on to the Green Bay Packers monster game that they have in store versus the Detroit Lions tonight, Thursday Night Football. It is at 51.5 over under. Absolute points are going to fly tonight. Big division standings here, 9-3, 11-1. Big playoff implications on the line. And the Detroit Lions, if you look at their defense, they are very good versus the quarterback. So they rank 7th, giving up 14.4, 5th in the red zone, but 243.7 passing yards allowed per game, which is bottom 10 in the NFL, and only 0.8 passing TDs. But this is a different offense you're going up against. This is a big game on the line. And Detroit really gives up chunk plays to the wide receivers, and that's what Green Bay does with Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. So I absolutely love Jordan Love as my QB4 this week. QB5 is going to be Baker Mayfield, and they're hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is like a Jalen Hurts thing to me. You're still starting him 100%, but you are playing the Las Vegas Raiders, who struggle heavily versus the run. So you You might get a big dose of Bucky Irving, Rashad White here, which could hurt Baker Mayfield's numbers, but I still think he's going to be a 20-plus point quarterback. It's just one of those games where I'm kind of like saying temper your expectations because it could be an ugly game script. But when you're looking at the Raiders versus the quarterback, anyways, they give up 18.4. That ranks 24th. They're 31st in the red zone, so second last there. 1.8 passing TDs, tied for second last at 230 yards. So they're still going to eat. I just don't want the game to get out of hand here is what I'm kind of saying. QB number 6, and we're going against the grain here, Kyler Murray. So last time they played Seattle, it was a terrible struggle with no touchdowns and 2 field goals only. But that was at the 12th man. Now this is a monster game here, NFC West, 7-5, 6-6. I mean, playoff implications on the line to the max. That's why I said with the Rams and 49ers, everyone in this division is fighting heavily. So when you're going up against the Seattle Seahawks right now, they give up 15.9 to the quarterback, 22nd in the red zone, 227.8 pass yards, and 1.3 passing TDs. And I expect Trey McBride to score a touchdown at some point in this season. This guy cannot be a top 5 tight end all year long with no touchdowns. It's absolutely crazy to me. Marvin Harrison should find a little game here. It's just, I hope it's not another one of those weird games like last time they played. Like I thought it was going to be a shootout game last time. The over-under was like 48 last game. Now it's at 45, so they dropped it down a little bit. I still think it's going to be a shootout game. I thought last game was an aberration that they played in just a weird game. That usually never happens like that. It's usually high scoring. Number 7, Russell Wilson, my smash play of the week last week. I hope you guys started him. Thank you guys for all the comments that dropped it in there that said thank you for the start. He's going to do it again here, guys. You get the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are struggling heavily defensively against the quarterback and the wide receiver. They're giving up 19.8 points to the quarterback. That's 26th. Obviously, their front 7 is very good. They're number 1 in the red zone, but 237.2 passing yards at 1.3. And Russell Wilson, you just saw him throw for 400 yards. You saw George Pickens open up a little bit. You saw Pat Freiermuth get involved. And you know their running game in the cold is always going to be tough to deal with, and their defense is always going to give them more opportunities. So I'm putting him at QB7 this week. QB8 is going to be Tua Tagovailoa, and people have been doubting this guy. I know the Dolphins lost last week, but what you have to look at here is since he's like week 11, right? Las Vegas Raiders 28, New England 28, Green Bay tough matchup 25.2. I mean, now you get the Jets. The Jets look on paper like they're really good, and the names they have a lot of superstars out there on defense, but they're not playing like it. And the Jets season is over. So they rank 13th, giving up 15.8, 12th in the red zone, 197 pass yards, which is number 1 in the NFL. Or sorry, number 2. Number 1 would be the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get to that in a minute. And they give up a 0.8 chance for a touchdown. But the Dolphins are fighting for their season here. They know they have the Jets when they're beat down here. They're back in Miami, back at home. No weather problems here. And Tua is going to find Tyreek Waddle, A-Chain, and they're going to explode versus the Jets and destroy the Jets season and make it just look shambles this week. Number 9, sticking with that Thursday night football game, Jared Goff. So you're going to get the Green Bay Packers, and this is a 51.5 over-under game tonight. So I'm throwing it out the window because Green Bay Packers are number 6 versus the quarterback. I'm throwing it out the window. So when you have Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, all the weapons he has, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, I throw the defensive statistics out the window when it comes to this game. It's a division game here, and they give up 235.4 passing yards, which is middle of the pack, and 1.3 TDs. But when you see a 51.5 over under, you are wanting to start everyone in this game. You have to use that odds when you look to your fantasy football as well, because if Vegas thinks the points are going to fly, you should as well. Number 10, Caleb Williams, who is on an absolute tear since the coaching change. It has Shane Waldron being out of town has been just enamoring for the Chicago Bears offense. So they've just played Minnesota and Detroit, 2 top defenses, and he's dropped 28 and 27 back to back. His pass attempts are through the roof. You know you're going to have Roshan Johnson out with concussion possibly in this game, so a lot more DeAndre Swift. And you're going to get the San Francisco 49ers, who are beat up across the board right now. The injuries have just derailed my team all year long. It's absolutely brutal. We rank 11th, giving up 15.4 points, 20th in the red zone, 201.3 passing yards, which is top 10, and 1.2 passing TDs. And could see Bosa back out there, could see Greenlaw back out there, Hufanga getting close. I mean, but are they going to get out there in time for the 49ers to even make a push? Now we got CMC and Jordan Mason on IR. It's just ugly all around. I'm going to put Caleb in my top 10. And here comes my sleeper play of the week. Number 11 is going to be Will Levis, and he is going to get the best matchup you can possibly get in fantasy football this week. The Jacksonville Jaguars, pot of gold fantasy football. They can't stop the run, the pass, The quarterback, the tight end, they can't stop anything. They're 32nd versus the quarterback, giving up 22.2 points, 32nd on the season, 23rd in the red zone, 284.2 passing yards allowed. They allow per game, which is dead last, and 2 passing TDs. I expect Ridley and Nick Westbrook, Keeney, Chigakonkwo could even have a big game here. Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, the mix. I love all the Titans this week, especially with Mac Jones out there at quarterback. So it's going to be really, really ugly for the Jags from here. Number 12 is going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's just tough with the Chiefs. This is like one of those grind games here with Justin Herbert. I'm going to throw up Justin Herbert here as well at the same time. He's number 15. So when the Chiefs play the Chargers, these are usually like 2018, 21-24, really ugly games. And right now, both these offenses have kind of been struggling. So when I'm looking at this game, I kind of, want to drop them lower, but they're just good-ass quarterbacks, so it's hard for me to do. So when I look at Kansas City, or I look at the Chargers, right? So Los Angeles Chargers right now versus the quarterback, they rank 12th. They give up 15.5. They rank 7th in the red zone. So about a top 8 to 9 defense. 221.8 passing yards they allowed and 1.2 passing TDs. So top defense there. Then you look at the Chiefs. They rank 22nd versus the quarterback, 14th in the red zone. So about a top 15 to 16 defense. But they've been banged up by injuries getting healthy. So they give up 1.4 passing TDs and about the same passing yards at 235. So I think this is going to be just one of those grit, grind, ugly games. So with all the quarterbacks on a bye, you're probably starting them either way. Quarterback number 13 is going to be Brock Purdy, who absolutely struggled in the snow game, but that was, kind of a given. You lost CMC early in the game. Jordan Mason took over, then he got hurt. I mean, it's just been one of those years for us, 49ers. But you get the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are number 2 versus the quarterback. They give up 12.7 points. They're number 6 in the red zone, 225.2 passing yards and 0.9 chance for a TD. Still, I mean, he's a scary start for me this week, but if you have him as your starter, you probably got to throw him out there in a tough matchup and hope he bounces back. The weather was absolutely terrible last week, killed his fantasy performance. Number 14, Sam Darnold gets the Atlanta Falcons, and the defense that I preached about beginning of the season that's going to get better and better, they just have not done it, and they've had great players. On paper, they're like the Jets. They have like 7 superstars on their defense, and it's just not, or 5 superstars, just not clicking. And Sam Darnold over the past 3 weeks against good defenses, Tennessee, Chicago, and Arizona, has been averaging 20-plus fantasy points and 2 touchdowns a game. So the Vikings are just rolling, and you're going up against the Atlanta Falcons now, and the Falcons rank 25th versus the quarterback at 19.7, dead last in the red zone at 32nd, 229.2 passing yards, which is middle of the pack there, and 1.8 passing TDs. So, and they funnel just passes to the wide receiver 1, so you can expect Jefferson to have a monster game here. Sticking with that same game, Kirk Cousins in their revenge game. But I would usually rank a quarterback heading into his revenge game a lot higher. But Kirk Cousins is struggling, guys. Past 3 out of the 4 weeks with the bye. This is 3 weeks combined. He has 17 fantasy points in 3 weeks combined. It's getting really sketchy. You're starting to hear a lot of Michael Penix talk. Man, I don't want to see Kirk lose his job here, but 3 points, 5 points, and 10 points is terrible. You're going up against the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to have a blitz. They're the number 1 blitzing defense. They're going to be bringing the house, and his mobility is very limited. So the Minnesota Vikings rank 10th versus the quarterback, 21st in the red zone. They give up 15.1 points per game, 264.7 passing yards, which is 3rd worst. So you'd expect Kirk to light it up, and 1.5 passing TDs. But the Falcon, Kyle Pitts was 0 catches last week. That was ridiculous. I mean, Drake London with a down game, Bijan, good game at the end, kind of, garbage time. They're not really scoring points. So I'm really worried about this game, but I could be one of those revenge games where he goes nuts, just because it's a revenge game. But I'm still going to rank him low just because it's not working out right now. Number 17 is going to be famous Jameis Winston. This guy just went absolutely nuclear last week at Denver. You get a very tough matchup this week versus the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I don't see that happening again. Although, if he's going to throw 58 attempts, he's going to sling it all over the yard with 30-plus fantasy points. But you're at Pittsburgh. They're going to control the clock with the run game a lot here. So when you're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers defense right now, this is a very elite defense across the board. And they are number 1 versus the quarterback, giving up 12.3 points. They're number 8 in the red zone. They only give up 237 passing yards, which is top 10, and 1 passing TD a game. I don't really like the matchup, although, if you own him in fantasy football, the number one mistake people make is playing a player off a hot game the next week thinking it's going to happen again. Could it happen? Yes. Do I see it happening? No. Quarterback number 18, Matthew Stafford. We talked about the big game here on hand for the Bills at the Rams. And for some reason, I feel like the Rams are going to upset. This is that trap game for the Bills, but it's hard to bet against Josh Allen. It's at a 49.5 over under. You have Puka Nacua, you have Cooper Kupp, and you're also going up against the number 3 defense that gives up 12.8 points. Number 13 in the red zone, 215.8 yards they allow, which is top 5, and 1.3 passing TDs. But again, when you have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, I'm not too worried about it with Matt Stafford. Number 19, Geno Smith, and I think the script is going to flip here. So this is why I have Kyler Murray high at 6 and Geno Smith at 19. And last time they played, it was Geno Smith above Kyler because they were in Seattle. Now they're in Arizona. And again, 44.5 over under. I think it's going to be higher. I don't buy the low game last time, 6-16. That's the aberration game to me. These teams usually score massive amounts of points, and their defenses are about dead even next to each other. So at Arizona, they rank 14th, getting up 15.8, 19th in the red zone, 235.2 passing yards, just middle of the pack, and 1.2 TDs. You got DK kind of banged up with the shoulder. JC's has been balling out. Tyler Lockett playing limited snaps now because JC's has taken the role. And Kenneth Walker, I mean, it's just, I don't know how to trust this game after watching the last one. I know that was at the 12th man. Again, this one's in Arizona. I'm still going to rank Geno as my quarterback 19. Quarterback number 20, Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets are done. It's absolutely terrible. Miami ranks 4th versus the quarterback. They give up 13 points, 3rd in the red zone, 216.8 passing yards, which is top 10 there as well, and 1.1 passing TDs. Could Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson have a day here? They could against Ramsey and Fuller. I don't really like it. Those are 2 stud corners. We don't know what's going on with Breece Hall. This offense has been terrible. All the stars they have everywhere, they should be ashamed of themselves, honestly. I've been saying they're going to bounce back, and it just has not happened. Quarterback number 21, Cooper Rush. And this is a really interesting play this week with Cooper Rush if you need it, because Cooper Rush has a phenomenal matchup with the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Cincinnati Bengals are 30th versus the quarterback, giving up 21.3 points, 25th in the red zone, 250.9 passing yards, which is bottom 10, and 1.8 TDs a game, which is tied for second worst. And you got CeeDee Lamb banged up. You might get Jake Ferguson back out there to go along with Shoemaker. Rico Dowdle's been getting 20-plus touches a game. That's nice there. You saw Brandon Cooks back in the mix. You get a little Jalen Tolbert. You've seen a couple Mingo plays here and there. And they think they're going to make a run here. You got Micah Parsons saying, we're coming for a run. I'm not really buying into that. But this defense can't stop anything. So Cooper Rush is a very interesting play. I just don't trust it as a top 20 QB. Number 22 is going to be Derek Carr and the Saints, who just lost Taysom Hill, Olave, Shaheed. They've just had that injury-riddled year. You get the New York Giants defense. I mean, they're just absolute shambles because their offense can't move the ball. So they rank 20th versus the quarterback, give up 16.9. They rank 11th in the red zone, so about a top 15 defense combined. 213.2 points, or 213.2 yards, which is, again, top 10, and then 1.1 passing TDs. Now, I mean, you're probably getting a full dose of Alvin Kamara in this game. I mean, with Taysom Hill out, you might get Kendre Miller back here and there. I'm not buying into that. And they don't really have any receiving weapons. I mean, Mason, Tipton, Bub Memes. It's just really, really ugly out there. And I feel super bad for Derek Carr as a Fresno State fan. Number 23, Aiden O'Connell. And the matchup here is great, guys. So, again, I think it's going to happen twice with him dropping into the 24-point fantasy game? Probably not. You're at Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay, they rank 31st versus the quarterback. They average 22.1 points to the quarterback, 27th in the red zone, 275 passing yards, which is second worst, and 1.8 TDs. So expect Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers to go off in this game. I still, putting him higher than that is still just risky for me with Aiden O'Connell. Number 24, Drew Lock and the New York Giants. Again, they're going up against the Saints. This is going to be a very tough matchup. The Saints are 9th versus the quarterback, 2nd in the red zone, but they do give up 263.6 passing yards. So they give up a ton of chunk plays. They just, tighten up in the red zone with their good front seven, so it's hard to score on them. And, I mean, Neighbors could be in for a big game here, but it's so hard to judge with Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito at quarterback. I just don't like it. Number 25 is going to be Bryce Young going at the Philadelphia Eagles. They're number 5 versus the quarterback, going at 14.4. The Panthers have looked better. I mean, since Bryce Young came back, I cannot lie about that. This matchup in the cold at Philly, I just absolutely am staying away from. And you shouldn't be starting him. Even in Superflex, I'm staying away from him. They give up 196 yards, which is number one to the quarterback, 1 TD. I'm not touching him at all. Last but not least, Mac Jones, and he's looked absolutely terrible when he's out there. I hate to say it, but it's done for all the Jaguars players like Evan Ingram, Brian Thomas. It's really going to hurt. They could play a lot of garbage time game, being behind most of the time, which is probably what's going to happen. You're getting the Tennessee Titans. The Titans defense has been good all year long. I mean, every single category they've been good. It's just that their offense didn't move the ball till as of late. So when you look at this number, they give up 17.7 to the quarterback, 30th in the red zone, 186 yards. That's number one, actually above Philly. Sorry, so I got that number wrong. And they give up 1.6 TDs. I'm not touching Mac Jones, neither should you. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. That is my Week 14 quarterback ranking tiers for BYEMAGGEDON Part 2. Remember, Ravens, Broncos, Texans, Colts, Patriots, Commanders, all out this week. Monster fantasy playoff implications. Before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscription button. Turn that bell on. Helps me out a ton. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support this season. It's been absolutely amazing. Again, I will be live from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern today. I'll be doing some drafters, splash draft, stuff like that. And I'll be taking all your questions. And if you guys can't make the show, you can always drop any comment you want down below. It does not have to pertain to this video. And I try to answer every single one of them to help you guys get that weekly win and get you that ultimate goal of a championship. And we are almost there. And that is it for me in this video. SleezBall out. I hope to see you guys in the next one.